suffer for work, enjoy for heaven. This thing they happen to anyone. I come from nothing, enter many things, but this thing they happen to anyone. Yeah. I live the life that I love. I love the life that I live. Tomorrow is not promised, but I'll keep the things that I need. Love is in the air, where feels smile. No matter the matter, I'll be rich till I die. 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 The plan is plan A, better plan is plan B. No pain, no gain, no face, no case. Look. I live the life that I love. I love the life that I live. Tomorrow's not promised, but I'll keep the things that I need. Love is in the air, where feels smile. No matter the matter, I'll be rich till I die. 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 I love that you are getting my ex taking money. I know, but I'll keep the things that I got now. For work, enjoy for heaven. This thing they happen to anyone. I come from nothing, enter many things, but this thing they happen to anyone. Yeah. I live the life that I love. I love the life that I live. Tomorrow is not promised, but I'll keep the things that I need. Love is in the air, where feels smile. No matter the matter, I'll be rich till I die. I'll be rich till I die. I'll be rich till I die. I'll be rich till I die.
All right, folks. We want to say a big thank you for tuning in with us today. Again, we have another good episode here, Healthcare and You, your usual platform where we discuss healthcare related issues globally and domestically. Today, we have in house our two co hosts, Miss Kuhn and Miss Juliet. Uh, they are here with us today. And today seems to be a wonderful day because we have a wonderful topic on the discussion. We will be talking about um, domestic abuse. All right, I almost said amen. So we'll be talking about domestic abuse today. It is a serious issue uh, nationally and globally, and so we thought it wise to discuss what is going on in that area, of human, you know, human, I would say human relationship or human tendency to subject each other to a certain way that they feel uh, they should be, So today we'll be discussing the whole issue of domestic abuse, what we call domestic violence, also. And so it's a global issue that has been affecting lives, in a negative way. And so today we'll be discussing it, and we have in-house Alice and Juliet, our two co-hosts. Um, on Friday we were here. We discussed trending issues that making news around the world, and we will be touching base on some, maybe one or two trending issues before we wind down to the hopefully, just to uh, uh, keep you guys informed of things that are happening, that are current in the news when it comes to healthcare. So we will be just giving you guys that as a pro bono, as a bonus rather. And so today we are happy to be here. We want to say welcome, Juliet, and welcome, Alice.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
All right.
much.
So let's get the ball rolling. So domestic abuse, as you are aware, is not strange. It's an ongoing problem in most countries. It's an ongoing problem in the world today. People are losing their lives, most especially the population that is mostly affected do with women, our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, our nieces. These are the most vulnerable and most affected population, in the world. I hope that sometimes during the show or during the podcast, we'll be able to just narrow it down to Liberia, where we come from, because I think we see in the news or we hear in the news most of the time some gruesome and horrific, uh, just terrible things that are happening to our mothers back there, our sisters, our little daughters, our children back there, in terms of being raped, in terms of being drug and abused, and you name it. So I hope sometime down the line during the show we'll be able to wind down and look at what is happening specifically in Liberia. But not only Liberia is affected, like I said, the entire world is being affected by domestic violence. So we'll get the ball rolling. We'll start with you. I mean, anybody can take the lead
Yeah.
and just say, a little bit. But let me just give an overview of a little research that I did according to the UN Women website. When I saw something very interesting that they gave, and I just want to give an overall figure of what the UN Women website says. They had an article that was written since February 2022, which is not bad. We can still use that. It says globally an estimated 7 million and 736 million rather women uh, are subjected to physical and sexual intimate not sexual are subjected to physical and or sexual intimate partner violence. So that's a high figure. It's a high number. 736 million. That's a high number. So what would be your take on this number?
Honestly, I feel like that number is definitely higher. We have to also take into account the amount of people that probably don't even report the
Mm-hmm.
domestic abuse. But before we get started, I just honestly wanted to give a definition
Okay.
of what domestic abuse is. So, according to WebMD, domestic violence can be defined as a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. This includes physical abuse, sexual, emotional, and psychosocial. Okay. So, what are some signs that we see with people that are coming in with abuse, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
some signs includes jealousy. Is your partner overly jealous of you? Do they
Mm-hmm.
not want you as a female? Do they not want you to have any male friends? They only want all your friends to be female. Do they have unrealistic expectations of you, right? No one's perfect. Do they expect you to be like the perfect person to always get everything right? Do they isolate you? You mentioned, a lot of the women back home, when you are in a relationship, are they saying that you can't visit your family or visit, your friends? Do they confine you to only one section of the home? Those are some of the simple signs that we need to be looking out for.
All right. Yeah, I mean, and Alice, you want to chime in?
Jump in.
You muted. You muted. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. So the key word there that I wanted to take from what Julia was saying is control. That's
Hmm.
that word control. And I think most of the time we see domestic abuse or the abuser wants to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, even though the majority of people that get abused, the majority are women, but there are some men who also experience domestic abuse from their partner.
Yeah.
Even our children. My thing is, one of the key things we need to look at, what brings on domestic abuse. So some of the things we're looking at again would be child trauma. Did that person grow up seeing their parents, in a domestic abuse relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Did that child, mentally, that's all he or she saw before growing up, and now they feel that's the normal way to go. So again, it's a whole control thing. Sometimes you see men, and like Julia said, most of the time people don't report it because that's stigma also. Or maybe I've invested. You hear women, some women that are already being abused, and you talk to them physically and you tell them, you know what, you rather deserve better, you need to move on, and they'll tell you, where can I go?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've invested so much into this person. I've been with this person since I was in high school. We spent years together. Where else can I go? Right? But think about it. Your life is involved.
Mm-hmm.
And, and,
Yeah.
and, and some of us haven't been in such a relationship. So somebody will say, how can you speak to that when you really haven't been in a relationship that is abusive? But you don't have to be in a relationship that is abusive. Almost like understanding somebody who's going through depression. I don't have to be depressed to understand someone who's going through depression.
Right.
So it's
So,
about taking the first step. And that first step could be anything, talking to somebody for the person to know the situation you are in. Because if you just keep it in, because sometimes not only are they in control of you, sometimes they threaten you that if you say anything, this is going to happen to you. So it's all of that thing. How can we get people to speak out about what they are going through in their homes? Most people want to be private, and it's not a bad thing because the moment somebody hear your story,
mm-hmm.
people are afraid that their story going to be told differently. Someone's going to explain it in their own way, and then it's going to keep going on. So people are ashamed that to tell the world that, hey, this is what I'm going through. And again, there are people who think that it's normal, especially back home. I've talked to some of my girlfriends who I know go through domestic. In fact, one of my friends told me that if her husband beat on her, she feel that there's no love there.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Hmm.
If her husband don't beat her, that means there's no love there. In this day and
And
age,
she ready to you that.
yes, in this day and age, can you imagine? I mean, seriously,
Wow.
your body and somebody hitting on you, or for no apparent reason, and
Don't
yet they go take
don't
you
you
back.
think it's something that she grew up with, and then it
Again,
was just an addition to her husband just coming in and just making it fine,
making make,
like
making her dream come true.
Right.
yeah.
It's like she has a fetish.
Right, making her dream
Yeah.
come true. Again, in this country, I mean, if you really want to go after it, like for instance, somebody abusing you, and Julia just put a number up there. There's a domestic abuse number that you can call. That's a hotline that you can
Mhm.
call.
Yeah.
But back home, sometimes who can you even call? Even if you report other people, that other people put him mouth on you. Oh my God, I can't believe she her husband fought and she talking to
Mhm.
police station. And
Yeah.
in this country, we have black women and our African sisters that came in this country. They feel that again the stigma. Oh my God, she called police on her husband. Can you believe it? They look at you who's reporting as a bad person.
Right.
I've seen that a lot. I don't want to call police on you because I don't want people to hate me. I don't want to call police on you because I don't want to be the cause of you going to jail.
Yep.
So that
But
person is going to continue.
sometimes, I mean, let's look at it on the other side of the coin. Some of these women just inflame situation. I don't know if you guys will agree, but I think they inflame situation just to get you in trouble, more especially for the men. And looking at the issue that men, most of the time, I usually tell my fellow men. I say, look, in this country, we as men, we don't have a lot of rights. We don't even have right as far as I'm concerned. In my own purview, in my own view, we don't have rights. So you got the women, you got the senior citizens, and you have pets. These three categories of people got rights in the country. So if you want to live right, don't mess with any of them. Period.
Right.
It's a no-go thing for for that.
And in most cases you're probably right, but I tell you, the people who investigate now, the people already go into depth because there are women that can be very pushy, that will tempt you. The only thing I always tell my brothers, because I got brothers in this, I always tell them, whatever you do, don't touch, right? You can't hate. Try your best to restrain yourself not to hate, because the moment you put your hands on that lady, if she caught you, going to be in trouble. But if she's the first to hit you, you make the call too. So men got some right too, because men are stronger.
Yeah.
But if we just sit there and say, you know what, because we don't want the stigma of our African family saying, oh, she been married to this man for 5 days, because she came in America and now she wants to adopt the American system, she calling police on her husband, or he calling police on his wife. We're gonna never get out of the situation that we're in, because they're always going to feel that. Some men just feel that every little thing they're going to put their hands on you. For me, I say, even jokingly, even if you think we're joking, don't knock me, don't hit me. That's a no zone for me personally.
It could be love. It could be love, like your friend said.
No.
That's not our love.
No, I don't. Even in the love making session, where I see people taking the and whipping. That's no love in there. I don't see the love in there. I'm so sorry.
Some people like that.
You gotta splash it off, Alice.
Exactly.
Come on.
I get it, please. I get it, but that wouldn't work for me. Don't slap me. Don't do no. That's a no-go zone for me. That is never meant. I would take that belt and smack the heck out of you right now.
So no smacking and no choking, right?
No
smacking, no choking.
Nothing.
No holding, nothing.
In my mind, love supposed to be, something you enjoy, not something that you're gonna be causing me pain. So that's a no-go zone. But again, the goal is just to get people to speak out, because the fear of not, speaking out, the fear of people saying, pointing finger at you. And what you need to think about
the whole issue of family, I'm concerned about what the family will say, how the family will
exactly.
Act,
and African family know how to make you feel guilty.
Yes.
They know how to make you feel guilty. Even our sisters in the country that want to put child support, know very well that your son's supposed to be paying child support. He's not doing it. That lady is struggling. She's going to work. She's doing her own thing. She's taking care of that child. You're not doing anything. The moment she puts you to child support, the next thing, oh my God, can you believe it? Now they're making you to look like the bad person.
Yeah.
Right. But bringing out a child in this country is not an easy thing.
No.
So I really want to encourage our African sisters, even though we're talking to all women across the spectrum, but I mean many our African sisters, do not be afraid to speak out. Do not be afraid to put on child support if they're not doing what they need to be doing. You need to be able to voice out your concern, or else, God forbid, something more dangerous could happen.
Sure. So let's look at other component of domestic abuse. I know bulk of it has to do with hating on women and vice versa and stuff, but there are other components like rape.
There are others.
I think that we should touch on, and I think it's the same message that we need to send out to children, young girls and boys, because now the boys too are being abused.
Right.
We know the story of most of some people, I mean, very high profile celebrities that came out, to share the story and give pieces of advice. The same thing we're speaking on today. Family, they were abused by members of the family, and they were repeatedly abused, and the child came up to say something about it to the parents or to those that they were, that were looking after them, their guardian or whatsoever, and they didn't listen. You know, they were told to keep silent, you know, and just hold on to it, you know. And as they grew older, it affected them until it reached to the point where they got saved before they could speak out about it and give advice to people in their shoe. So I'm glad that, you know, today we can, you know, just muster the courage to even speak about it and to be able to give those out there who knows, somebody listening that find themselves in same situation, that they will be bold and or brave enough to just say something to somebody, call that hotline, talk to somebody other than your family, because family will always want to cover family. I think the trouble here is family. We cover up a whole lot.
Trying to hide,
we hide a whole lot, and I think in the process, we think we're doing good, but then what we do comes right back to us, because at the end of the day, if that child should grow up with that resentment, you know, with that bitterness, with that anger, it comes right back to you, because that child wouldn't want to see you in his or her life anymore. And trust me, if that child really gets frustrated, I mean, you will surely meet your end because that vengeance will come right back on you from that child. So it is always good to talk.
And not only that, not only the resentment, but think about it too. That person can go into depression.
Yeah.
That person can have some mental problem, PTSD. That person will not trust again.
Yeah.
So they will be going into a relationship with lack of trust. And that's what you see, because you don't know when you see some women that just, you know, lack of trust, you don't know what they're bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
Or my father touched, you know, because there are different kind of abuse, like you said, apart from domestic, you know, just violent, they are financial abuse, there's sexual abuse, there's mental abuse, like someone just mentally drain you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's this different kind of abuse, and all of those different abuses have an impact on you one way or the other.
Yeah.
So until, you know, half of these people are not seeking therapy, for people to tell them and say, look, you know what, it wasn't your fault. Because sometimes what happens, especially when it comes to sexual abuse, what happens, women tend to blame themselves most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe because the way I walk in front of him, especially if that abuse was from a family member.
Or maybe the clothes that I wore, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe that child is trying to just express, you know, herself, you know, and making herself to feel feminine or something like that. And you know,
and people don't understand, when you're growing up, there's a certain age when you reach, you feel like expressing yourself because you're trying to know yourself. This is the stage, especially with female. This is the stage that I'm getting to know myself. And it's always between that preteen age where, you know, you around 14 going to 18. They're trying to know themselves. Yes, of course they need guidance, but most of the time, this is when you see the very rebellious, because I want to show my stomach, I got flat stomach. But it's not like they're looking for anything. Now, most people will see it out there that they're looking for something, yes. But does that give you the right to violate them in any way or form?
No.
You know? No, it shouldn't be. Especially, I was watching a clip on TikTok, and this lady had her daughter, and she noticed the girl was sick. I think she was like 16, and the girl was pregnant. And she kept asking the girl, if you can't tell me who pregnant you, you're going to get out of my house. And the girl was afraid to say it. And she kept saying, you know, and then her husband kept saying, you know, she's afraid right now. Give her a chance, let her compose herself later on. But right now, I think you push it too much. The lady said, no, I'm not pushing. She can't be afraid, because what she did, she wasn't afraid to do it. So now she have to speak out. But after persistent, you know, they're pushing the girl, the girl tend to tell the woman that it was her husband.
Mm-hmm.
So now this man, and believe it or not, this lady married this man when this girl was almost maybe 3 or 4 years old. So he even helped raise her. How can you do that? And, you know, this is somebody that I look up to you as a father figure.
Yeah.
I respect you. So it's easy to fall prey to you. It's easy for me to agree to things that you're saying. Easy for you to threaten me. So these are the things that are going on, even back home. That's why you see most women now back home, your mom will tell you, if you want a nanny, you better bring an old lady, because you bring young girl to take your husband away. Have you not heard that advice?
So men, let's stick on this. This is very serious, Alice and Juliet. You know, men who usually will bring up a child, you know, and sleep with that child, what do you think actually happened to that man? What is going on with that man's brain?
Honest,
Does he really have one? What's
it's
happening in there?
I see it as lust, and it's really disheartening when a young child especially falls victim to their lust, and that child gets the courage to speak to the family member, and instead of the family member supporting that child, they in turn support the man and say
Mm-hmm.
the child is at fault to blame. And I feel like that is the problem. And
Wow.
I can't speak for all the men, but I want to say majority of them, it's not any mental issue. It's more so lust.
Yeah, and control. I want to use
Yes.
the word control again. I can control this person.
Mm-hmm.
This is a smaller person. Mentally, I can control them. I can deal with them. I can manipulate them. So those control and beside
Mm.
loss, beside loss, I like to use control because sometimes I remember when I was growing up, my mom would always tell us never sit on anybody's lap, be it your uncle, your
Yeah.
whoever. We were not allowed to sit on anybody's lap because you know how you small, you sit on a man's lap, and most
Yeah.
likely if that man is sick in the mind,
Right.
he's going to start playing with you in ways that he's not supposed to be playing
Yeah.
with you.
Mhm.
And sometimes you go and tell your older people, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. If there's some kind of big person in the family, they say, don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Don't say anything. I will talk to him, okay? I don't want you to say anything. Now that child, because if my mom or somebody that I'm staying with telling me don't say anything, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, is this a good thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Probably if he comes again, I'm going to do it again because now I told my mom or I told my aunt or whoever I'm
Yeah.
living with, don't say anything, okay? I'm going to do it. If you say anything, we'll get in trouble. Don't say anything. That hiding thing, we love to do that thing back home.
Yeah.
We love to cover our big people, but this person is in high place, or this person is in the government, or this person is a chief, or this person is our uncle, our big uncle. So we can't expose him.
Yeah.
So because of that, a lot of those men took advantage.
Hmm.
They took advantage of the fact that they're controlling our parents. They took advantage of the fact that we were little, and they can take control of us. And that's very, very painful because there are people that are still going through the situation right now as we speak.
Yeah. And I think many men, when they are molesting and having, these sexual encounters with these girls, they don't understand how down the line mentally they are affecting them.
They don't care.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But and I know this is just, I don't know if it's a theory or what, but uh, when we were growing up, especially from the Broadway era, the Congo settlement, we call it Congo settlement era, and most of the time we heard stories about, you know, those older guys that live, and what they did to their families and stuff. I mean, some of those stories where when you hear some of them, you want to think one of the guys were actually human beings, that lived during that time, and some of the things they used to do with their own daughters and stuff like that, one man would just get up and his wife was born a girl child. He will raise like the same thing Alice just explained. Raise that girl. The girl grows up. Like by the time she hits 10-year old, he gets to know about her, and wait for another one, and like 3 to 4 of them, just like that, and so I wonder, is it normal or is it ritual or some ritual proceedings or what actually is happening, But I don't
Well,
think it's
it's a
something
combination.
normal just
It's a combination of different things. Some people will say, okay, there are people using that for ritual stuff. So it's a combination of different things.
Mhm.
For some people, yes, but there are other people who will just do it again because one, they're pure evil. Two, there are people that just do it because that's their fetish. That's
Yeah,
something they yearn for. That I was reading a book that said that people have different fetish. Like and that's why you see people and that rape little girls. That's what makes them happy. That they're having intercourse with small girls that are screaming, crying. That what brings that adrenaline, that rush to them. That makes them happy. So they go after stuff like that. So it's a combination of different things.
I'm not calling you Alice. It's so crazy. It just brought to my mind. I was watching the news one time. I think it was CNN America, and they have this whole, it's like a whole block in Miami, in Florida. I think Florida or somewhere, where they have, it's not like a restraint, but they have just a whole block of these people that, like you said, they have interest in small children, and so they just allow them to live there. And before you have to go out, I think you have to give clearance to government or something like that, or some craziness. But that whole block is just restricted to them. So everybody know that when you live in that block, you have to be avoided, or don't allow your children to be within that vicinity, because they are noted for just that, and government recognize them. And so if they're going outside of the limit, government will hold them responsible, because they're not supposed to go out. I think something like that existing somewhere in Florida. They got the whole block there that is recognized. They're recognized just for that.
Are you referring to them registering as sex offenders?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's you see what.
So that's everywhere.
Yeah, that even in Virginia they have that.
Yeah.
Everywhere they should have that. So some people, when you even buy a home, normally can go on the website and see how many sex offenders live in that block, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and by law they can't. There's like a certain mileage that they can be near schools and anywhere where there's a lot of gathering of children.
Yeah.
They have.
Yeah. I mean, they were interviewing these guys that live in our vicinity, that they were interviewing. I mean, they said, yeah. I mean, that's what they love. They don't go outside the they don't go above that age. They just love that age. The young type, like 10 years, 12 years. That's all they love. They admit, they said, as far as they're concerned, they are not violating. Is what their request, that's what they yearn for, and that's what you get as citizens of the country. That's their entitlement. So they are not committing any crime.
That's a shame, because most of these girls at that age, they're not fully developed, and some of them with doing that will cause them not to have children in the future, depending on what you do to them. That you can just damage them for life. We're not thinking about all of that, and this just comes back to some of our tribal cultural and stuff where we give our children out too young to older guys, because they're of age, they got breasts, they're 12, 13 years old, we can marry them out. Most of the time they spoil, and then and they have no future, because even if they get pregnant at that age, sometimes they at the point that they start to smell, because again they damage them, a certain part of them. So there are different things that involve in abuse. So that kind of abuse, you can see it's a way for abuse. It's like your parents took you and send you to that a kid for 13 or 14 years old child, to that 50 years old man. That but that's acceptable in certain culture. But again, looking at it, we travel and we've come into advanced world. We've seen different things. Going back, we're like, okay, that was an abuse.
Yeah.
That was an abuse. But this one, it was your parent taking you to be abused. And I don't care how much you cry. It didn't matter whether you've seen the person before, whether you've never seen the person in your life. Once your parents have arranged that marriage,
you gotta go.
They're going to put you into that home. You can't come back. You have to deal with wherever you meet there. So that's a form of abuse to our little girls with no education. And because of that, they are easily manipulated. You can easily tell them anything, because again, mentally they're not ready. They are not ready.
Right.
So how can we bring awareness to these things for it to stop? Because it still goes on up to now.
Yep.
It still goes on.
Yep. Let's talk about you hit a point that you talk about mental abuse. What do you mean by mental abuse? How can somebody be mentally abused? Is it the same as the ordinary just? I mean, you explain. I mean, for the audience out there, how can somebody be mentally abused?
So mentally abused is like I want to put in the same line as emotional abuse, and I dropped that in the chat.
Okay.
Somebody pretty much talking down on you. You're not
Okay.
good enough. You will never make it. You're not smart. You're stupid. Like those negative connotation that someone is
So
labeling you.
something like bullying. Would bullying
It's
fall
not
in that
bullying.
category?
It's completely different from bullying.
Okay.
And the reason why I say it's completely different from bullying is mental abuse. At times, it does not stop. It's like it's a continuous cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes back to that word that Miss Alice loved, which is the control.
Control.
They think that if I tell you what you are or who you are supposed to be, I can control your mind. I can control your future. I can control how you think about yourself. And for someone that don't have good self-esteem, if you're telling me that I'm nothing, I'm not pretty, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm not smart, I'm going to start believing those things. And anytime I encounter a situation, it's going to be like repetition, like a broken record that's playing in my head, everything that you've said to me.
That's perfectly said. And I want to go to self-esteem. It's an insult.
Yeah.
It's somebody continuously insulting you, verbally abusing you.
Yeah.
You know, you tend over time to lose that self-esteem, your self-confidence. You always shrink. You know, you don't have no confidence because, and that's why they'll tell you, don't tell your child that he's stupid.
Right.
After a while, he starts to believe that he's stupid.
Starts to believe it,
You know, my parents think I'm stupid anyways. He starts to believe that, and he lost that self-confidence. He lost that self-esteem. And because of that, it's easier for somebody else out there to control him. They're controlling your behavior. They control, because in mental abuse, people control the way you think, the way you behave. Right?
Yeah.
The way you behave. Because think about it. Let's deviate a little bit. If you were married to a person that constantly tell you your food is not sweet, it's not good enough, your food is not good enough, your food, you tend to start believing it.
Yeah.
You don't want to cook. If my husband said if my food is not good, now you either want to hire somebody to start cooking for you.
Yeah.
Right? Because that food is not good enough. Mentally, I start to think that. I start to believe that.
Or your dress, you can never dress to please.
You can never dress to please them.
You know.
Yep.
You know, there's always something. They're always snake picking. After a while, you become tailored to what they want, because now you want to please. And you know, most women, you know, will try. You know, especially back in the day, you want to please your husband. You want to do what he wants. You know, at least that's the way we were brought up. You know, you got to please your man. The African setting, we have to please.
Yeah.
Now, and that's why most of our men are so angry with us right now. They're like, oh, you came to America, you changed. You think we equal. You know, you got the American way. No, because we can think now. We got our minds are open.
Right.
But you be pleasing your man. That's anyway. That's another.
You know what I'm saying.
That's another topic.
Yeah, that's another topic. But you know what I'm saying. Back home, what we do, the men go to work, we sit down home, we cook, we take care of the children, we clean up. Even at that, they don't see that at anything. They look at a housewife, it's nothing. It's not a lot of work. But I promise you, if we were to switch roles, we will come home, there'll be no food, the house will be dirty, there'll be no food cooked because the men will not be able to do that. At least most men,
you won't even meet me home. I will be out.
Exactly. So most men won't be able to do that. Right. But because we came here now and we're like, oh, this can be 50-50.
Right.
And because of that now, they're telling us now, oh, you want to act like you're a man. You want to even yourself with us. You want to, you know, you want to rub shoulder, or you forget that I'm the head of the home. Yeah, you're the head of the home. Doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion. Doesn't mean that I can't say what I think anymore. You know, we can come to a common ground. I can say what I want to say. And we can agree, and we can disagree to agree, or agree to disagree, however way to say it.
And that is healthy, because I mean, if you alone just keeping all of those things in your head and in this type of stressful world that will end, you will collapse. But if you have somebody that will share ideas with you and share thoughts, and you guys can, you know, brainstorm and ponder on issues that are affecting your family, I think it's wise enough to take care of some of these things. Talk about it, go dream about it, think about it. Let's discuss it and find a solution.
But it's true.
You don't want to find a solution because you the man, you're going to die soon.
Well, but it's true. Even though it's true, but you will still find out that, and again, I'm going to stick on our African men.
Yeah.
Most of our African men want to be the one that makes all the rules.
All
Even
the
if they
decisions.
listen to you, they want the word to be final. This is it because I said so. Again, that's mental abuse. You don't have to put your hands on me, but I have no voice in our relationship. Marriage will be a two-way thing. What is my voice?
I think some of the contributing factors for which African men behave the way they do, you know, and I wouldn't want to just frown on African men and say African men, we're good people. And, you know, I think it's our upbringing and the way we saw our fathers, you know, bring up the family. Our mothers were housewives. They were very excellent at, you know, doing what they should have done in the house or in the home.
Right.
Submissive.
Excellent mothers.
Submissive, that's the word, yeah.
They took care of the homes well. They brought us up well and stuff like that. And the fathers were there to bring in the money and make those economic decisions when it comes to schooling and all of these things. The wife was only there to cook. Hey, take care of your father's clothes. See that he looks good when he's going out and stuff like that. Those were things that we saw our fathers do and our mothers do on the other side. So, you know, so it is a new ball game when you come in the Western world.
Right.
That is, it should be 50-50 or maybe 60-40 or maybe
no, maybe 50-50, my girl.
I think the problem is
you grab it too quick.
I think the problem is a lot of our African men don't know how to adapt. They don't know how to adapt to the new surroundings. So they bring those same mindset from back home over here.
And I will give you one instance, Juliet. Back home, when we were growing up, and when you see your parents, it was okay for your dad to have an extra marital affair out there. But most people will say, yeah, you know, that what men will do.
Yeah.
But they can't handle that same thing when a female will do the same thing. And then that's the same thing that, you know, you see that mentality, like, you know, it's just one way. It was always one way.
I don't want to go give into what we say. It was okay. It wasn't okay for our mothers.
It wasn't okay, but
they had to endure it because they wanted to keep their home.
No, they endured it.
They wanted to keep their marriage, so they had to endure it. That's the word. They wanted to endure it because they didn't want to. They didn't want to by another woman. I would say, you know.
No, my girl, I think that's no. I would disagree with you that they did not want to.
Right.
But that was the acceptable norm for the society.
Exactly.
That was acceptable.
It became normal.
Yes. If you woman, you leaving your house because your husband beat on you, you a fool.
Right.
You know, like, who does that? So that was the acceptable norm. But it's not like, you know, they wanted it. But what can I go if I go back to my parents to send me right back? Because your husband beat that. Why you come to my house? Go back to your house.
Yep. Go and fix it.
Right?
You know?
Go fix it. Go deal with that. They will send you home. But if you this country, that'll be a different thing. And not only this country, other Western country, you know. So it wasn't something that I think our parents love, our parents love, but this was what they grew up seeing, and it became the norm of the country.
Yeah.
Now, back in the days, Liberians didn't travel a lot. We would just stuck where back home. Even in our own counties, a lot of Liberians were just stuck where they are. It was during the war, the Civil War, that we really started going out and seeing new things and seeing how people react. And we were like, oh, this can happen. Like when I came here and knew that, I tell you for a fact that I had a lot of cultural shock. Right? But again, it's not normal, even though it's acceptable, but it's not normal. You know, and we need to get people out of that. And because of that, that women back home will accept abuse, people hating on them, will beat them. Where I live, there was a house beside me, and I was little. And every time that man would beat his wife, drag her all as small as I was, I still remember that. Drag her, he would beat her face would be swollen for days. And sometimes she would run, sometimes all her lapper would come out. She would run only in her underwear straight to her house. And most of the time, you know, it's our dad would like put her in a place, they would lock her in the way and go and talk to that man, beg him as if he's doing something right. And after he's calmed down, then the women there will take her back home. They always take them back home. So of course, in a situation like that, if I don't want to be hate and I don't want to be beaten, whatever you say will be yes, sir. Will be yes, sir. But that's not right. And our people should not accept that. Our women should not accept that. And especially if you left from in that situation you in America here, don't accept that.
Right.
No one should be hitting on you. No.
Yeah, and most guys they still get into trouble here. They get into trouble a lot here
Yeah,
because
but they can't change.
they don't want to change. They
Right.
bring the same Liberian mentality or African mentality here and
Right.
get caught up. And once you get that record, man, you do.
You do.
You do.
Yeah, they don't want to change.
The whole American dream die.
It is
You know?
never okay. I am like speaking directly to this camera. Yeah, be it you African or you know which part of the world. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're from. It is not okay for anyone to use their face on you, to use their hands on you, to verbally, sexually, financially abuse you for no reason. And definitely there are so many helps out there, and you can make it. And that's what people feel. Sometimes they feel that if I leave from here, how will I make it? You know,
Right.
especially educationally, if you're not prepared. And that meant again, that's another thing, because most of our girls were giving away early, intellectually, they're not ready there.
They weren't there.
And because of that, the man is the breadwinner. He's the intelligent one, and quote unquote, I'm using my hand like that because he's not really intelligent and he's going to be beating on you. But quote unquote, he's the one that went to school,
Yeah.
so it's okay. And now, if I leave him, this man no book. This man are the breadwinner. That's our word we use. It's the breadwinner. Where I will go with my 5 children. I got 5 children now. Where I will go.
And so since we're talking on that, somebody just slipped in. I don't know if you would consider this or you guys would consider this as another form of abuse or domestic abuse. Well, I keep saying abuse.
You understand it?
Abuse. So I know we're not immigration lawyers, but regarding people who bring people from another country, give them paperwork or give them papers, and they're stuck up with that person, and that person in turn, treat them any way they feel like because he or she is giving that person paper. What would be your advice? How can that person get out of it? Is there any way out of it?
The war control comes in again.
Yeah.
It's all
So
control.
it's definitely control. And you said, is there any way out of it?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're in the DMV
because
area,
the reason why, is there any way out of it? Because I need a paper. At the end of the day, I've made all the sacrifices.
Mhm.
I braved the storm. I came here, and I got my family depending on me. And
right.
what can I do? What's the way out? Is there any way out of this thing? Because there are thousands of people out there that are in this situation today as we speak, and they need some way out, but they're there because they want to get the paper. It's the paper, the end of all of the end of it.
So no, there's definitely a way out. So as I mentioned, the number that I posted in the chat, the 1-800 number, that is for the DMV area, and that's actually a domestic violence hotline that's anonymous. So if they were to call that hotline, because when I saw the topic, I was like, this is a very important topic. So I started doing research, and there is a way out. Once they call the hotline, they explain the situation. You should understand that immigration is not going to just pack them on the plane and send them right away. No, they're going to open an investigation. And it's very hard to say because, immigration becomes very tricky, but there is a way out of it. They shouldn't think that by them speaking up, they're automatically going to be shipped back home. No.
And most of the time, they end up giving an asylum because
exactly,
if you're being abused, it's a no-go zone in this place for abuse. So don't take it. I don't care whether you give me paper or you give me paper. If you think you're going to control me, and I'm using the word control because a lot of women just feel that they're being so controlled by their partner, one, because of the same situation, because I want DV, so I brought you as my XYZ. So because of that, if you say jump, I ask you how should I jump? No, I still have a voice. I still can speak out. And most of the time, you did not bring me for free. I probably pay you a huge amount of money.
Yeah. Right. Also, sometimes they serve as sponsors for these trips, and when they come, they want to take the money out of you anyway, anyhow. And
right.
They seize your passport, or they seize your green card,
right.
Or they seize some part of document from you, and they demand that you work and pay them back, and all kinds of stuff, and
right.
So they subject you to just being abused, and you got no way. You see, it looks like there's no way out. I
Yeah.
just started to bring it
And,
out.
and you know the funny thing, my get control is a serious thing, and I know I keep going back to that.
Yeah, I mean, it is good.
People wants to have dominant over you, wants to control your life, want to control the way you think. I've known people that came in this country and came actually legitimately, and people because they were little people seized their document and for years they didn't give it to them because they want them to be. You gotta live in this house and you gotta work for me and you gotta do X, Y, Z. So even though they knew the way out, that or even if you don't have certain things, I know the way out, but I'm not going to show her because I don't want he or she to be independent. I don't want he or she to live from under my control.
Right.
So again, I'm going to control their situation. I want to tell you where to work. I want to tell you, who to interact with.
Right.
It is a whole control thing, having that dominant over somebody's life, which is very, very wrong. And we love to do that. It is not okay for you to take somebody's life and demand and tell them how to live their life, especially if you know the way out, but you deliberately try not to show them the way out because you want to control them. I mean, there's a whole lot of situations, some of them I can't even speak of. People came in this country putting their parents, and that's a whole thing too. Our African family, our African female, our African sisters, bringing people into this country, and because they're not doing what I want you to do, and you know very well they don't know their way around, you push them outside.
Right.
You push them outside to the world. They got to struggle. If somebody don't take them in, and they got to struggle. I know people doing that to their parents.
Yeah.
It is absolutely wrong, especially when I see that from a African female, because sometimes if a guy married, we say, the woman normally get control of the house. But if you're an African female out there and you bring especially your parent, I have a very, very hard sense when it comes to that. If you bring your parents into this country and you know that you don't want to take care of them, leave them there, don't bring them. But if you bring them, it doesn't matter what happened or what they did to you, except they're ready killing you or they're ready beating you. Please don't put your parents on the street.
Yeah, your responsibility,
right. You are a female, that's your mom, or that's your father, or that's your guardian. Don't put them on the street. And then if other people pick up the pieces, you make that person become your enemy.
Yeah.
It is completely wrong.
Yeah.
It is completely wrong. So again, it's a whole control thing. I want to control you. I want to control how you do things. I want to control how you work. I want to control where you work. I want to control who you interact with. You don't have to do that.
It's very true because a lot of people are power hungry. So once they find something that, it's in their control and they have superior, whether it be their significant other or their parent, they hold on to that because it's like, okay, I'm at this high pedestal. I'm in control. I make the decisions. You have to bow down and listen to me. And it's very sad.
It's sad.
You cannot, and everything you said is so true. It all centers around that big word, control.
Right.
Power hungry. Yeah.
All right. So you were in back home on Liberia. I don't know if you were in Liberia at the time or Hawa. It was in the news for I think almost a year plus. I think Little Angel rape and death case, and I think it's still existing now. I don't know if they have closed that case, but that was so horrible. I want us to discuss, similar thing that's happening now back home. Is these things are still happening back home. Every now and then, when you look at the news, you see that. I mean, babies are being raped by grown-up men. Babies being raped.
There's different stories out there all the time, and with that being back home, in terms of speaking directly about Liberia, again we'll come back to the same thing. We don't have any regulation, strong laws in place to really set a good example so that when others see, they can follow. I've heard about a couple of different cases that even though they catch the person and then after 2-3 months they let them go.
Put them out.
Somebody big that pay and and bribe and all of that, and they let them
Don't we
go.
have a gender ministry in Liberia?
Dentistry, a
Or
dentistry.
gender ministry?
Oh, I
Ministry
have.
of gender.
I'm not even going to lie, but I got zero clue.
I think
Do
we have.
we?
Yeah, we do. We do have ministry of gender.
Well, I don't know. They ain't working.
Wow. Yeah, we
They're
do.
there.
We do
They
have
better
ministry
not.
of gender.
They better not working if they are there.
Man.
It's
You know,
sad.
it's sad. It's sad, you know,
Mhm.
and then this what we call society Bush thing is still going on too. I mean, with all the talks,
Right.
with all the negotiations, and people say it's tradition, you know, it's tradition, it's our culture,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But let's take into consideration that these children that are carried into these places, you know, they don't know what they're getting into. They don't know what they're going to meet. You know, they don't know what they're going to experience. But they are coerced, or not coerced, but they are forced into going these places.
Mental abuse.
So how can we create that awareness? You know, I know there are a lot of groups out there that have been speaking
Oh,
about it, but you know, we
I
gotta
don't
have
know
our
whether that one
voices.
is ever going to break
You know.
out, man. Like you said, some people consider it cultural. That's my culture.
Hmm.
So we really got to fight high. The ones that are not cultural, we better work on that.
Work on the on cultural issue first, right?
The cultural issue, you know, good luck with that one, because I mean, people, even those that went into it will argue with you. I have a friend that, you know, I don't know which tribe from. I don't know if he's from Pere or he a Pere boy, but he got all these little small dots on his back. And we
Yeah.
always used to tease him. I was like, okay, tell me what happened when when you went there. He's like, well, if I tell you, you're gonna die, you know.
Yeah.
You will trick me. Like, I'm like,
Yeah, that
so,
was the meaning to understand. Yeah, that
yes.
was the belief.
So, you know, my brother, I always to be like, so tell me when you went, what did, you know, what happened, you know, how they put all the mark on you. Like, I can't tell you, it's a big secret. If I tell you, you'll die, the Gina is going to come for you, you know, all of those things. But, you know, again, you know, now growing up and coming here and seeing and knowing things, and I know that it's like both mental and physical abuse, because if you're going for somebody to like take, I don't know whether
Take your
it's
own time and mark
on fire or whatever, and just mark you all over like that in the name of culture, or maybe, you know, castrating you in a way, you know, that's just, I don't know. It's just I don't know how we're going to break that, because, you know, people, like I say, you know, there are people that are even going into it that completely agree with it. So, you know, it's going to be difficult to break that cycle. I mean, just honestly speaking with you, even though we know it's wrong, and we, you know, but it's just going to be hard to break that cycle. There's a lot of different abuse, man.
Yeah.
And right now, like the kids, if the government can just do something for us to take the kids from the street, my guy, I don't know when last you been home. I mean,
10 years now.
like 5, 6, 7 years old children, they are the ones selling. They are the ones running the show. They're selling when they're supposed to be in school.
Wow.
They're selling. They have on no shoes. Some of them are shirtless. You know, they have no shirt. They're in their trousers. Some of these girls, then their boobs just start growing, and because of that, the clothes that they are in is so revealing. Of course, some stupid person that's out there going to rip them.
Yeah.
Right.
They are so vulnerable.
Yeah.
They are so vulnerable. Like, what are we doing to take these kids from the street? I mean, even if we have to tell parents, I mean, even if you don't have money to send your child to school, well, let them sit down. You go sell. You can't send the kids out there. It's dangerous. And we say, oh, somebody raped my child, they killed my child. Oh, I can't see.
Wow.
The kids are on the street. They are so much, and they are selling. And they are selling. And I know somebody will come for me and say, oh, yes, you're sitting in America there and you're saying it, you know, if y'all were here, you know, it would be different. Okay, maybe so. But that ain't make it right either way. Whether we outside here or, you know, on this end, I mean, the kids are just too many on the street. The little kids, at least there should be an age limit. That's child abuse right there.
Yeah.
That's another form of abuse.
And this is why I asked the question why we have a gender ministry, because gender ministry
that's
should be
child abuse right there.
You know, regulating all of these things.
Yeah, that's child abuse right there. If you got a 19 years old on the street, you know,
you got gender ministry, you got commerce. Commerce controls uh, I think to some extent marketing or selling and commodities and all of these things. So who sells on the street? So it should be a joint effort. Commerce, the city police or the national police, and gender ministry. I think they should come together and form a task force to ensure that these street peddlers don't do. But then again, if government is not providing jobs for people to be able to meet ends meet, how will they survive? And these are the only way that people know to survive.
It's true, but
Take for instance, take for instance, if you have an elder, say that woman or that man is like maybe 60 years old, and you have that person gave birth to a child, and the child is something like that. I said becomes an adult and does nothing for, for his or her life, and give birth to another child. Obviously, they're going to take that child and carry it to their grandparent, and the grandparent has no way of getting income, nothing in the car. And so they say, well, granny, and let your own child, they child for you, and they go by the way. That grandparent is left with that child or children, and so obviously, in order for them to eat, they will give that child, they will go to market, go hustle and bring, whatever you bring, we cook. So that's the way of life. So it's a give and take thing, It is wrong, but what will you do in this kind of situation? This is where gender ministry comes in. This is where the national government comes in, creating avenue for these people, elders and children, taking children to the requisite, create, maybe if we take them to orphanage home and give them parents that will take care of them. All of these things. How you have the social welfare here, that takes care of all of these things. Same job that gender ministry should be doing, but are they really doing? Are they really functioning? We can't even hear about them. The only time we can hear about gender ministry is when they're having some workshop to eat donor money. That only time you can hear them on the news. But I've never heard that gender ministry did this to combat this or to do that, or they got results from because of this or this advocacy or nothing. Only conferences and paperwork thing I hear about gender ministry. That's all. And it's so sad,
It is. It is. I still think there should be an age limit for the kids being on the street.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's just my opinion.
You are right. You are right. They shouldn't even be in the street selling. That's the first thing.
Exactly.
So age limit on that. People shouldn't be in the street selling.
Think about it. If that kid is uneducated, right? He's not educated. He's not. He grow out there. We say, oh, he's street smart. What in your own mind that child going to become?
Mm-hmm.
By the time he says something, they're going to say, oh, he's Zoko now. I know Zoko or Zubu.
Zoko, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's Zoko now. Mm-hmm. But what else did he grow up looking at? He hustling. What else? What do you expect? What I don't know. It's just bad, and that's a big up abuse that going on in back home. The kids, the kids rather not being schooled, and they're doing more things that adults are doing now. Like one of the girls that chatting or sending message here. She said sometimes your parents will send you, oh, you see my daughter, she can bring food for her family. That's basically telling you to go on the street.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the same form of abuse, but now it's like an abuse that you're giving her permission to go and abuse herself.
Yeah.
So putting pressure on her mentally. On her.
Speaking of that, that's how most of our young brothers and sisters learn how to smoke and drink.
Exactly.
Yep. The parent will give them the money and say, go buy me one pack of cigarette. And when you bring the cigarette, they tell you, say, can you let the cigarette from me?
Mm-hmm.
You let it, and then you taste it. And then in maybe 1 or 2 years' time, then you start buying your own cigarette. Then you start tasting it. The same thing with liquor. Can you run down there and buy me 2 bottles of beer and come? And I'm speaking from experience.
Right.
If I was someone who could smoke, I would have been smoking today because my mom used to send me to buy a cigarette and liquor.
Right.
and it was like a household thing. Her dad smoked, mom smoked, uncle smoked, so everybody thought that smoking was a normal thing. So I mean, it's sad sometimes, but some families see it as a normal thing. It's not a proud thing to do, and I think
Yeah.
it is wrong. It should be condemned. If you're doing it, it doesn't mean that your child or your children should be involved in it. So I think we've discussed lengthily on this thing, and so I think we'll come to a close. Do we have any final words for our audience out there today?
Um, my final word would definitely be speak up. I'll leave you guys with that. Speak up, know your rights. Reach out to people. If you cannot trust your friends and your family, just reach out to the public because these information is out there. Everyone is familiar with Google. Google ways in which you can help your situation. But I'll leave you guys with making sure that everyone speaks up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think what I gotta say is let you guys know that no form of abuse is acceptable, be it sexual, mental, financial, physical. No form of abuse should be acceptable.
Right.
And there are so many help out there, and you need to seek help. Seek help, and seek help now. If you find yourself in this situation, seek help now because you don't know tomorrow, and you don't know, something worse who happened. And it is not your fault. You didn't bring this on yourself. Don't blame yourself. Just know that there's a lot of help out there, and there are a lot of people that are willing to help you and walk you through the process. Even if you came in this country, don't allow anyone to have ultimate control over you to the point that they're directing your thoughts, your mind, the way you function. It is not okay. So you can
Right.
speak out.
Thank you guys so much. So I think every form and function of domestic violence should be strongly condemned. It should be stopped, and awareness should be made all over the world, like we're doing here today. Let us speak out. Let us say it. Let us speak about it. Let us talk about it, and let us tell somebody who is not necessarily our family, because I think from experience, family are the ones who endorse these acts and who encourage these acts and who will put it under the rug and allow it to go on. And you out there will be the direct person who will be affected by such an act. And so, if you can reach out to um, a family, a trusted family, reach out to somebody who you think will speak out for you, who will be able to pull you out of it. But equally so, you have the right and you have the power and the strength to just say something. You know, there are numbers like Julia said. There are numbers out there. You can Google the word fast, fast. The time where we had the analog phone where you had to look for numbers and stuff. You can just grab a phone. You can rush out to the library. They got computers there. Those are all public places. Maybe you don't want to do it from home. You can do it from a library. You can do it just anywhere. And everybody have access. Almost everybody should have access to some sort of phone, and phone line, or go to a church or anywhere, even a morgue. I think you have access to phone.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody about what is going on with you, and somebody will be able to help you through it. Don't try to do it alone. Don't try to solve it on your own. You might just feel, or just keep doing it because you feel that there's no way out, but there's always a way out. And so we want to encourage all of you out there listening to us today, that I mean, it's totally wrong for somebody to control you. The warrior is control. Our word for today is control.
Right.
There are a lot of control freaks out there that are willing to just control you, control your destiny, control your dreams, and destroy it. So we want to encourage you to get out of it now. Now is the time. Don't think about next year. Don't think about tomorrow or the next hour. Now is the time. You
Right.
know. So we want to say thanks to everyone for sticking around. Those of you who made your comments. Alice, you can see all of the comments.
Yeah, I am seeing it.
You want to read some of them so that our
I
listeners won't feel that they are left out.
No, no, no. I actually been responding to some of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's been very active in responding to each
Oh,
one
okay.
that came.
All right. But
I did,
sometimes, you know,
I
they love us to read it out so that they will
yeah,
feel a
I
part
have
of
been.
it.
Destiny actually just I kind of spoke and said hi family. We have Marvina. Marvina actually was one of our classmates at like Kerry. She
Yeah.
said some people still do in the Western world, which is the whole abuse thing. And then I did tell her yes they do, but we have to bring awareness. And she said especially when you give them, when they give some people give their parents money. So again, the same thing like I was saying, you giving your parents money to say, oh, I bring you something, and they will encourage you to continue doing what you're doing regardless. And of course, Miss Julia, went ahead and put that abuse and violent abuse number up there for everyone to be able to see. And Marvina also said some women think men beating on them, that means the men love them. Like I said, there are a lot of women, a lot of our girls who think somebody hitting on them is okay, and it's not. Or they feel that that's how the man should love. Because someone will tell you, oh, when he comes to make up or to come apologize, it's really nice. Well, he's gonna beat you again tomorrow because he said to say, oh, sorry, baby, I love you. So it's not acceptable, and it's true.
And just to stop it right there, and at times they see it as being something nice and romantic.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, by the time you hit 50, you look like you're in your 80s.
Yeah, all your teeth is broken, your nose is broken,
your whole body is upside down.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Marvina also said, yes, my sister and I replied to her that it was sad. And then she said, yes, immigration will give that person document. Like we said, immigration is not just going to take you and throw you out of this country. And if somebody's abusing you or trying to control your life in a way that you becoming miserable, I know a couple of cases, they actually take control. They actually gave you paper really quickly too. Okay. So if you're being abused, you just need to talk to an immigration lawyer, talk to somebody, or talk to a friend that know the system, and they'll be able to help you.
Yeah, stop being afraid, because most of the time, especially in our Liberian setting, we got lawyers, we got immigration, we more immigration lawyer than I don't know what. We will give all the wrong advice, and we'll keep people in that mess until they might likely die in it.
Right. Don't be afraid.
So it is good that we know today that immigration will not just throw you out.
No, they wouldn't.
If somebody is ill-treating because they think that they give you paper or something like that.
Right. I know huge couple. A lot of cases they would not just send you home.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know a couple of cases that even immigration, even the kept the organization kind of gave them documentation.
Okay. All right. So we want to thank you folks for just staying with us today. There has been Healthcare and You, our usual platform where we discuss healthcare related issues. Today we discussed domestic abuse. We went in depth. We went in our own country, Liberia. We went other parts of the world and stuff like that. So it's getting interesting every day. We want you to stick around on this coming Friday. We'll have another interesting and thought-provoking topic for you.
Please share the video. Share the video.
Please share the video as much as you can. There are other folks out there that need to hear about what is going on around the world in terms of domestic violence and how they can get out of it and how they can prevent it and how they can speak to somebody or call a helpline. There's church. I'm sure every country should have a helpline, a hotline that they can call and they can search for help. So please help is another thing that we should call for in terms of being abused. And we should also know that there is always a way out. You are not just allowed to just remain in it because you want to achieve something. But what is achievable is keeping your life or trying to preserve your life to live longer, and healthier. So please, if you are in it, get out of it, step out of it. Fear, I see somebody, okay, well, Alice, you say fear, we should get out of fear. It's very important that we get out of fear, So again, I want to thank all of you. Thanks to our two dynamic co-hosts, Alice and Juliet. We say thank you for just sharing with us today, and our listening audience out there for just having a wonderful conversation today. We want to say thank you, and God bless you, and have a wonderful rest of the week. We look forward to being here on Friday, same time. So thanks to all of you. Thanks for staying around, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Please
everyone.
share the video as
Yeah.
much as you can.
Suffer, work, enjoy for heaven. This thing they happen to anyone. I come from nothing, enter many things, but this thing they happen to anyone. Yeah. I live the life that I love. I love the life that I live.